Beautiful Inner Harbor of Baltimore, Maryland on the Chesapeake Bay. It's interleague play. The Rockies taking on the Orioles. It seems every time the Rockies and Orioles match up, it's always at Camden Yards. Rockies were here a few years ago. Lost 2-3 to the Orioles in that particular set. There's David Dahl on the right. Trevor Story, of course, is on the left. Trevor Story, by the way, the National League Player of the Week, it was announced today. Second time he's captured that award. These are moments from David Dahl's BP earlier today. For the Rockies at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, the old stomping grounds of my partner, Jeff Houston. It's always good to be back for you, I know.
It is. It's special memories. I played here in '95 and '96, so to come back here, it's fun. It's a great ballpark. Great fans. And I know the guys are excited to be playing here today.
You know, Charlie Blackmon's ready to go. Brings great numbers into the ballpark. 41st straight game in the one hole for Charlie. And here's the Southwest batting order this evening for Walt Weiss. DH obviously is in play. LeMahieu will bat second. Nolan third. He had a big series against Atlanta. Cargo at 318. Trevor Story with a gorgeous weekend against Atlanta. David Dahl will bat sixth and play left field. Then Mark Reynolds, Daniel Descalso will bat eighth. He'll be the DH. And Nick Hundley, who also swung it well against the Braves, he'll be catching and batting ninth. On the hill is an old friend, Yovani Gallardo, former Milwaukee Brewers. The Rockies, especially their veterans, have familiarity with Gallardo. Signed a 2-year deal with an option for a 3rd year in the offseason to come to Baltimore after pitching with Texas last year.
A real late sign for Baltimore, so it took him a little bit to get going. Battled some arm problems this year. The Rockies have faced him nine starts, 10 games. He's 0-5 against the Rocks, and then not an overpowering fastball. Slider, guys are hitting .375 against the slider and .286 against the curveball.
Gallardo at times this year has struggled throwing strikes. This ball is over the bag. Trumbo got it, and Gallardo gets to the bag in front of Charlie Blackmon. So 3-1 on that putout, and we'll see the Orioles defensively. Pretty solid defensively. They have a lot of big names. Nolan Reimold's in left field. He was a hero from yesterday. Hit a walk-off home run. Andrew Jones, the perennial all-stars in center. And it's Dario Alvarez in right field. Manny Machado's at third base. The two best fielding third basemen in the game on display in this one. J.J. Hardy, Jonathan Schoop, Mark Trumbo. And Matt Wieters is back behind the plate after missing the last 6 games with a foot injury.
Yeah, he was hit on the foot by one of the Yankees pitchers and right on the outside of his right foot.
And a first pitch strike to DJ LeMahieu. Well, yesterday DJ LeMahieu, as the Rockies rolled 7-2, had a home run and also a couple other base hits. That ball was a 2-base error after getting past Jeff Francoeur. Looked like he held up. He did. They check it at first with Corey Blazer, so it's 2-1. Gallardo has really struggled in the first inning this year. He has an ERA close to 10 in the first inning.
Well, guys are hitting .391 in the first inning. 12 runs in his 11 starts coming out of the gate.
2-1 on LeMahieu. And that's outside 3-1. And more so than at any point in his career, walks have been an issue for Gallardo. He's averaging 5 per 9 innings.
Which is much high, about 2 times higher than what he's allowed in his career. But when you don't have that overpowering fastball, you really think, I've got to paint the corners. And so for Gallardo, that's what he's looking at. He pitched 3 and 4. That one was up, one was out. That's where he's trying to live, not right in the middle of the zone. Strikeout to walk ratio is not real good either for Gallardo.
2-2. And he strikes out LeMahieu, 2 outs.
As soon as I say that, he strikes out DJ. With a hand on the Subaru Supermo. Just a baby cut fastball that just didn't do anything. Just kind of spun up there. DJ was expecting it to break more.
So that'll bring up Arenado. It is 95 degrees, folks, and it is as muggy and as humid as we have seen it. Literally, I can't recall the last time we were in a place that was this hot. During the afternoon, it truly was unbearable.
You know, down on the Inner Harbor, I walked down there just briefly. There was nobody out today, and that place is usually packed.
The heat index earlier today was 111. And right now, it's 97 degrees.
Forecast, hot and steamy.
1-1 on Nolan. That's outside. We were talking to Buck Showalter earlier. Now, Buck managed in Arlington. He managed in Arizona. And he said by far the hottest place to play in baseball is in Baltimore. He said because it just sits there. The air never seems to move.
Well, and especially here, too, because this field is sunk down 15, 17 feet below street level. So when you drop it down, the air doesn't have a chance to move around in here. And it just feels like a sauna when you're out there playing.
2 outs and a 2-2 count on Arenado. Rockies opening up a 7-game road trip, 3 here in Baltimore, and then it's off to the Big Apple, 4 against the Mets. And that's a little comebacker and a very good start for Yovani Gallardo. David Dahl will take his borrowed equipment and head out to left field for his first appearance in a big league game. In his major league debut. Oh, I wonder what's going on underneath that jersey right now, huh?
A lot of butterflies, a lot of nerves, excitement, everything every emotion that you can think of.
You know what? As we were talking to him in the clubhouse, he got here about an hour and a half before first pitch. His folks and his girlfriend beat him here. Folks live in Birmingham. That's his dad Mike on the left and mom on the extreme right, Kelly, and Jacqueline Davis, his girlfriend, is in the middle. Jacqueline's from Houston. Here to watch David make his major league debut. On the hills, Jorge De La Rosa. He hasn't pitched at Camden Yards since 2007.
In a
It's been a while.
Yeah, in a different
David Dahl wasn't even born yet.
Well, I wouldn't
that's
go
an
that
exaggeration.
far back, but yeah, Kansas City Royals was the last time that Jorge took the mound, and the guy that relieved him in that ball game was Zach Greinke. So that tells you it was a while ago.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting note.
Jorge trying to erase the memory of his last start. Gave up 11 hits in that affair against Tampa.
So here's the uber talented Adam Jones leading things off, 7 for 14 in his career against Rockies pitching. And that first pitch was inside ball 1. And you know, with De La Rosa, you're going to get a heavy mix of that splitter.
I'd like to see a few more curveballs today in this heavy air and that humidity.
That's popped up. Hundley may have a play, and he will. And you know who helped him out on that was De La Rosa. Nick didn't know where the ball was, which happens a lot with a catcher. I mean, you got all the gear on, the ball's up behind you, and it's hard to find it. Jorge helped out his catcher.
And even for Nick, who has played here, he was traded over to the Orioles. He's looking around, didn't see it off the bat, got help behind you. I thought for a moment he was going to overrun that, but he didn't. Got to really keep an eye out today, not only for Nick, but John Hirschbeck, the home plate umpire. Make sure they stay plenty hydrated in this game.
Here's a guy that, unless you followed the American League, you may not have heard a whole lot about. Jonathan Schoop is from Curacao, and he's been up and down the last couple of years. Scope, I should say. And he is a kid with a lot of power. He's got 17 home runs. He's been in the mid-teens each of the last couple of years. And this ball is hit well toward left center field. And it's cut off out there by Dahl, who's got a strong arm. This is on target. Just got a hand in. So David Dahl, the first time he touched the baseball in the big leagues, he makes a beautiful throw and nearly cut down Scope.
And accurate. How about this? He was rated to have the best arm when you're talking about in the futures game, and he made a throw there, and he makes one here at the major league level that is real close. Take a look on the Subaru Supermo. Oh, his hand just barely got in there, got the fingertips in before DJ tagged him on the elbow. What a throw, though.
And that'll bring up Manny Machado.
All right, now Baltimore's already putting that in their book, saying, okay, the new kid in left field's got a strong arm. Be careful.
Well, think of the futures game. David Dahl got everybody's attention with this throw. Runner on second, base hit, one hop, little crow hop, and that was on the fly.
You had to wait for him to get there before he could tag him.
0-1, and the cutter's inside, 1-1. David Dahl, not unlike his good buddy Trevor Story, is truly a five-tool player. He can hit for power, he runs exceptionally well, center fielder by trade, he throws well. 2-1.
That's why he was drafted 10th overall in the first round in 2012.
.314 average for Machado, coming in as 6th best in the American League. Orioles with the best record right now in baseball. And this is on the ground at Nolan. He knocks it down and he waits. Safe. That was interesting. I'm really curious as to why Nolan, after he knocked it down,
he shouldn't have looked
the runner back to second and didn't just go across immediately.
Well, and it'll cost him. It'll be an error on Nolan just a second this season. Gets a top spin in between hop. But then once he does it, don't check the guy at third base. Nolan's so good at what he does, and he relies on his arm. This time, instead of checking, just get the out at first base. Right now, you know you're in trouble as an infielder.
And Nolan is so smart and always seems to make, plays that other fielders don't think about. On that particular one, just get the out.
Yes.
I mean, even if Scope was going to cross, it's 2 outs, runner at third, and you go to work and try to get Trumbo. Now you got 2 on and 1 out. That's just the second error all year.
I really consider
the Gold Glover Arenado.
Just his first error.
I'm with you.
He got that error way back in Boston on a throw. Typically, you don't give to a guy after it's bounced once on the ground.
Well, the home run leader in all of baseball is at the plate right now, and Mark Trumbo. He's 4 off his career high. Todd Frazier, the White Sox, in a new uniform, has hit 28. And then Trevor Story tied with Edwin Encarnacion of Toronto. Nolan's 5 back. 2-0. Dela trying to get a ground ball, and he misses. It's 3-0.
Trying to stay away on the Subaru strike zone of the power of Trumbo. He's got power to all fields. Another guy that has power is Chris Davis on deck.
They look good getting off the bus, the Orioles.
Don't they?
That's ball 4. Now they're loaded up for Chris Davis. Here's Buck Showalter's lineup. A visual look at it presented by Southwest Airlines. Davis with all kinds of pop, you know that. Matt Wieters has pop. He'll bat 6th. J.J. Hardy's been banged up a little bit, but he'll bat 7th. Nolan Reibold, and then Dario Alvarez.
I know what you might be thinking. Chris Davis, prime candidate to hit into a double play. Not a strong runner. No, that's not the case. Just one time at 340 at bats because of his swing path. He's a fly ball strikeout guy.
De La Rosa in trouble here in the first. Here's the 0-1. And that's fouled back. So here are the gloves defensively for the Rockies. David Dahl with a borrowed glove. I'll try to take a look at whose glove he borrowed. Put that name on there in a moment. Charlie's in center. Cargo's in right. You know the infield. And Nick Hundley's behind the plate.
Maybe Mark Reynolds. I mean, that's kind of the go-to glove, right? That's what Descalso uses.
Everybody borrows Reynolds stuff, huh? 0-2. There's a curveball that didn't really get on top of. Maybe that was a slider, but
those are Popeye forearms for Chris Davis.
I'm telling you, like I said, this team get off the bus now.
What, just like a half a mile away where the Baltimore Ravens play.
Exactly. Nobody would say, who are these guys? They are a formidable looking bunch. 0-2, got him. Big strikeout for De La Rosa. That was a perfect location. Not going to get damage there.
And it helps when you're sitting 0-2 for Jorge. The tumbling action on the split finger just turns it over, and Chris Davis, all he can do is try to whiff at this and ends up with nothing.
So that'll bring up the switch hitting 4-time All-Star catcher Matt Wieters. He has not played since July 18th because of the foot injury, and he's been scuffling a little bit with the bat even prior to that. 1 for 23. De La Rosa will try to continue that slump. Bases loaded, 2 outs. And it's fisted to first, and an easy play for Reynolds. So De La Rosa, who has done this throughout his career, he deals with traffic as well as any pitcher in baseball. He works out of a bases loaded situation. We'll go to the second, scoreless in Baltimore.
The Rocky Mountains, a lot of orange here in Baltimore as we head to the second inning, and no score with the Rockies and the Orioles. David Dahl set to get into the batter's box for the first time in this half inning. We saw him in left field earlier. Here's what he said about his call-up story from yesterday when the Isotopes were in Fresno.
I was getting ready to play the game. I think the game started around 5, so I go out there to stretch, kind of get ready, and I walk in the dugout, and G Hill's on the phone, and I get in there, and he stops me. He's like, "Hey, you need to come with me." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Bring my stuff." He's like, "Bring your stuff." And he gives the lineup card to our assistant coach, and he's like, "You need to do the lineup card." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "He gone?" He's like, "He gone?" I was like, "Big leagues?" And I think some fans heard it, and then they tweeted it out. So that's how I think it got out.
Cargo leads off with a single. He was able to then call his parents, his girlfriend, who you guys already mentioned, and his grandmother, and kind of enjoy it a little bit last night. Up at 3 in the morning today, 5:30 flight was delayed through DIA. Paul Egan's rebooked him through Phoenix. He got here, and he's coming up after Story, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting moment for number one for him and for his family, but not far behind for all of us.
Exactly. How about Damon Iannelli, the scout who signed him?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that's had a hand in it for David.
So Cargo with a base hit in his first ever at bat at Camden Yards. And you say, wait, hold on a second. The Rockies were here 3 years ago. Cargo was hurt. This is the last stadium he hasn't played in.
He was running up and down the dugout today announcing that to everybody. I've got all the stadiums checked off my list now.
He's got them all checked off, and Gallardo doesn't want to be in a uniform to face him because he's now 8 for 18 against Giovanni. Here's Story. And Story drives this ball to center field. Jones will come on and make the catch. And here comes David Dahl. I don't know if I've ever heard that before on the road. What a classy maneuver by the public address announcer here in Baltimore, and a very nice response from, you know, the partisan crowd. Wow.
It gives me chills.
Yeah.
I mean, just to have the stadium address announcer say, this is your major league debut. The fans clap and cheer for him, and it's a visitor. It's the guy that they're rooting against in this ball game. But for this at bat, they're rooting for him.
Maybe it's happened in other places. I don't recall ever hearing that.
I'm trying to think back.
Dahl.
I can't think of anywhere else that's happened.
And there's that buggy whip swing of his. That's how Walt Weiss described it. Again, he's not imposing physically. Describe his body type as wiry, strong, but he produces great bat speed.
Well, if he gets a hit with this bat of Daniels, Daniel will never get it back.
Nope. Well, Dahl goes down. So there are 2 outs, and that'll bring up Mark Reynolds. You remember your first AB, and do you, no matter the result, because I know you didn't have a hit your first at bat.
Struck out.
And did it calm the nerves, or were the nerves still as abundant the second time?
Yeah, they're still there the second time, but it is it's almost like a relief, if that sounds right, after your first at bat, that you, I mean, like, ooh, heads up.
And the former Oriole Mark Reynolds just gets plunked by Gallardo, and that'll push Cargo to second. And Gallardo and Reynolds laughing about it. So
he's got Mark on the wrist. No, on the elbow. Well, that helps when you're wearing that pad on his left elbow. It didn't hurt him.
No, and Giovanni walked over and he clearly said something in an apologetic manner. And now Descalso with a chance for a 2-out ribby. Curveballs down low. How many times Daniel's been a DH in his career? Probably not many.
Well, when you're hitting 464 with runners in scoring position, you'll be put in that DH spot.
This is one of the best hitters' parks in baseball. You hear a lot about it with the Rockies residing at Coors Field, and understandably so. Camden Yards is as hitter friendly as there is in baseball.
Well, there's a good backdrop here. You see, you pick up the baseball real well. It's 318 down the right field line, high wall, 333 the left field line.
And a ground ball to first. That'll end the inning. Descalso, third time in his career he's been a DH. No score, middle of 2 at Camden Yards. Of the second with Jeff Hewson and Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. Here's our Office Liquidator Series storylines. Power Patrol, yep, the Orioles hit a lot of home runs, 148. It's more than anybody else in baseball. And the big story for the Rockies, the debut of David Dahl, who was the 10th pick overall in the 2012 draft. And Trevor Story, National League Player of the Week. Dynamic left side of the infield for the Rockies. More home runs than any left side of the infield in baseball between Arenado and Story. And a first pitch strike to J.J. Hardy. He's hitting 14 of his last 16, the veteran shortstop.
J.J. missed some time earlier this year with a left foot fracture. That's when they moved Manny Machado over to shortstop to fill in for Hardy.
And he did great there because he's got a great fielder, but that's his natural position. Machado was, like Nolan, was a shortstop. Machado probably has even more of a shortstop type body than Nolan. Nolan knew he was going to move when he was drafted. There's talk of him being a catcher. Pretty good third baseman, though.
Yeah, I'm glad they stuck with the third base route.
3-1 on Hardy. Hardy's been around now, turned 34.
Almost 10 years now in the major leagues. And
a walk, so De La Rosa walked a man in the first inning, a leadoff walk to Hardy in the second. And this is not a lineup you want to mess around with. I'll bring up Nolan Reimold. Well, Nolan came up yesterday. Reimold is a pinch hitter with 2 outs in the 9th inning, and he hit a walk-off home run, a 2-run shot, as the Orioles swept the Indians. The final score yesterday, 5-3. That's just the 5th pinch hit walk-off home run in baseball this year, and it was the first time an Oriole did it with 2 outs in a pinch hitting role since Larry Sheets in 1988.
Larry Sheets, outfield first baseman type.
This is slowly hit. DJ's going to have one play. It's going to be the little flip to get Reimold at first, and moving into scoring positions, Hardy. As Dario Alvarez will come up. Folks, join in on the conversation tonight and every night. Send us your statements, questions via Twitter or Instagram. Use the hashtag ToyotaTalk. Asked Steve Foster what the deal was with De La Rosa in his last outing. And he said just a bad outing. I mean, and those happen because De La pitched so well since returning to the rotation. He just had a rough one. Nolan. And Nolan just airmailed that throw. That's his second error. I mean, that's not likely to happen again for a couple of years.
Almost speechless watching that come from Nolan. I mean, he just sailed this ball over the head of Mark Reynolds.
I wonder, I'm sure people at home are wondering, you know, does he feel extra pressure with Machado on the other side?
Let's see what happens. See if we can. Oh, he really dropped down on the elbow, but we've seen him throw from so many different arm angles that you don't even question where that ball is going to go because it's always at the chest. Well, Jorge picked him up the first inning. See if he can do it again this inning.
Adam Jones at the plate.
Last year, Nolan had 3 two-error games. This is just the 4th one of his career.
And another good pitch. Beat him inside. And it's 0-2 on Adam Jones.
Well, it started on the Subaru strike zone, but by the time it cut, it ended up being inside by 6 inches. It cut action, but it responded like a slider where it ended up.
Now they're going to go away, and the fastball's off the plate clearly. 1-2 on Jones. Adam had a huge June. Hit 11 home runs, which is tied for the best in baseball. Had 27 June RBIs. And a bouncing ball through the right side. That'll score 1. Carr go to the baseball quickly. And that error now very costly. '55th RBI for Jones.
He waits back on the split finger from Jorge. See the split on the Subaru Supermo, and then just punches it to right field. Sees the opening and then just shoots it past DJ.
Well, if you're thinking about, well, it's 1st and 3rd, Jones, a leadoff types at first base, stolen base maybe. Baltimore does not run. I'm not saying they won't do it here. They don't run.
13 stolen bases on the season for Baltimore. The next closest is in the National League, St. Louis. They have 24, and then Seattle has 27. So, I mean, those clubs don't run. 13. That's it.
Yeah, by far the fewest in baseball. Jonathan Schoop at the plate, and he fouls this one off.
I mean, they really subscribe to the Earl Weaver. We're looking for that home run. We're not going to run into any outs.
Good block by Hundley. Spent part of last year in a Baltimore uniform. Let's talk about DJ being a big second baseman, 6'4", well over 200 pounds. Schoop 6'1", 225.
Well, that's why he has 17 home runs, 58 RBIs. Oh,
Ground
perfect.
ball should be 2. Story, and the Rockies turn it over. There was another error on Nolan, which we all know how unusual that is, and it ultimately cost the Rockies a run on the base hit by Adam Jones. 1-0 Baltimore going to the third. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Could have gone either way. They're saying that run last inning was an earned run. Base hit with a runner on second. That runner would have been J.J. Hardy if not for the error. So the Rockies down 1-0. Leading it off in the third will be Nick Hundley. I said last year Nick was with Baltimore. Obviously he was with the Rockies last year. 2 years ago he finished up the season with the Orioles. Nick had a good series against Atlanta, 5 for 11, couple doubles, drove in a pair. And he takes strike one from Gallardo. Gallardo is kind of old-fashioned now. He used to have a big arm. He does not throw very hard these days.
88 to 90 miles an hour. It used to be 93 to 95.
And he was the ace of the Milwaukee Brewers. J.J. Hardy grabs it, 1 out. Second time through now for the Rockies. Charlie Blackmon coming up. Folks, if the Rockies score 7 or more runs, as they've done on a regular basis of late, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special at Moss Taco Bell. Charlie hit a ground ball to first, leading off the ball game. For 4 lifetime against Gallardo. 2 natives of Mexico competing against each other tonight with Giovanni Gallardo and Jorge De La Rosa, 2 of the 5 winningest starting pitchers ever from Mexico. And this ball is well hit right center field. Jones going back, and he's going to have a play right in front of the southwest side. So a long out.
Just missed that.
If you ask why this is such a good home run park, for me, Huey, and you played here, so I'm going to let you describe it, but it's the gaps are not deep.
No, 364 into the left center field gap. I know it goes out to 410, but the ball really, from the Kaiser Permanente over to the Budweiser sign, that ball can just carry up into those seats easily. And even right field, I know you got a higher wall over there, but if you got the right trajectory, it's going to go over and sit on top of that wall.
Outside on LeMahieu. Noticed a couple of guys were a little tardy with their swing against Gallardo, and you say, well, wait a second, you said he's only 88 to 90, but there's deception there.
Well, and he drops his hands down as he starts to the plate and then brings them right back up over towards his face, and he really speeds up his delivery. Once the hands drop down and they come back up, that's when everything speeds up for Gallardo.
Did you find sometimes when you were facing a guy that all of a sudden got quicker, it made you go back a little quicker?
And it makes you try to do things faster than you want to do it.
Little cutter misses, 2-1. DJ hitting .359 his last 16 ball games.
3 hits yesterday, a home run, kind of overshadowed by what Nolan and Trevor did in the game.
DJ crushed that ball out to right center. 2-2. I asked him today, I said, do you know it was gone? He said, I don't hit enough of them to know for sure, but I thought I hit it pretty well.
That's the last thing you want when you don't hit many, to be embarrassed if it goes off the wall.
Yeah. You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
Home plate umpires John Hirschbeck. John's the crew chief. Corey Blazer at first, DJ Rayburn at second, Vic Carapazza at third.
John's been around forever. Used to be one of the American League umpires before they became under one umbrella.
And this is in the air to right field. An easy play out there for Alvarez. So Gallardo with a 1-2-3 third inning. It's 1-0 Baltimore. Manny Machado will lead it off.
More, the Orioles are up 1-0. It's David Dahl's Major League debut, and his family is here. His mom Kelly, his girlfriend Jacqueline in the middle. Dad Mike is there. What a day, huh?
Oh, it's been a great day so far. I've had a lot of fun.
Did you think back in 2012 when he was drafted that this day was going to happen?
Knew it would eventually, but just, I mean, didn't know when, and, you know, it's just great for it to be right now.
It's been quite a day for him, I know, getting here from Fresno, but he found out Sunday. Tell me how you found out from him.
Well, we were getting ready to watch the Isotopes game, and he started trying to FaceTime us, and it wouldn't connect. So, so he was getting frustrated and finally called and said, "Why aren't you answering your phone?"
So that was a sign that FaceTime was down.
Yeah. So he said, "You're not going to believe this, but I just got the call."
And then you guys made the arrangements to get to Baltimore?
Yeah, we did. We got busy last night and made all of the arrangements, got everything taken care of so we could leave first thing this morning.
And you got your purple on?
Absolutely.
It's a great Purple Monday. Who else did David call? He told me he called his grandmom. Do you know about that conversation?
I don't really. I haven't talked to her about it, but he did tell me that he called. I would guess that he probably called both grandmoms.
He's had quite a journey to get here. He had the spleen incident, but boy, he's really worked and grinded it out.
He has. He's worked very, very hard, and I'm just really proud of his accomplishments.
So you're the spokesperson for the family, Dad's?
I guess so.
Is he responsible for any of it, and you guys' his athletic abilities?
Oh, we like to think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great day. I want you to enjoy watching him in left end when he comes up again.
Thank you.
Guys, the Dahl family.
Yeah, very special day for them, and it's just anytime we hear the story about how the news is conveyed from a kid to his parents, and then the mad dash to make arrangements to get there. Each time is special, and it's going to be an unforgettable weekend. Or it's not weekend, but you know what I mean. Unforgettable few days for the Dahl family.
And they beat him here because they had a shorter travel route than David, trying to come all the way from Fresno.
Yeah, I wonder what, I mean, they could either flown from Birmingham, drove her to Atlanta, and just hopped up to Baltimore. Good pitch in on Trumbo. 2-2 on Trumbo. He walked his first time up. De La Rosa's dealt with a lot of traffic so far. He's relinquished 1 run, but his pitch count's not very high.
39 pitches for Jorge. He's pitched out a lot of traffic. Couple errors behind him by Nolan is hurt. He got a big double play last inning.
You're going to work the all the blocking drills when De La Rosa's pitching, because De La intentionally is going to throw his splitter low in the zone, bounce it. Occasionally he's going to throw a curveball with the design of having it bounce.
Yeah, he has to work down. He leaves it up, he gets hurt.
And he gets Trumbo on a cutter in.
A lot of movement on the cut fastball tonight. Trying to stay under the hands on the Subaru strike zone of Mark Trumbo so he can't get his arms extended. That's a cut fastball. You might see a small little red dot, but it's not a slider.
So Trumbo's gone, and here's Chris Davis. He struck out his first time up. And the free swinging, big, strong lefty. Led the league in home runs before. Seems like every year an Orioles leading the league in home runs. Nelson Cruz did it, and he moved on to Seattle after 1 year in Baltimore.
It was 4 consecutive years. I mean, you throw all their home runs together, 4 consecutive years that the Orioles have hit 200 or more home runs. I mean, it just kind of tells you what they're built for.
They've out-homered the opposition 146 to 108. A bullet, but it's right at Story. He'll run to the bag, on to first, double play. Second the Rockies have turned tonight, and De La Rosa and his teammates off the field will go to the 4th. It's 1-0 Orioles. something to help out their cause, huh?
Well, yeah, and to try to build some excitement around them this year.
Wow. A real good team got even better.
Well, the Yankees did get their #1 shortstop prospect, too.
They got a prospect, Hall. Here's Nolan. He takes outside. Arenado hit a comebacker in his first at bat. It's Arenado, Gonzalez, and Story with David Dahl due up 4th in the inning. 1-0 Baltimore. And this ball is well hit left center field, way back, and Nolan gets the run back. Ties it up. You know he was hacked off.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. You knew he was going to do something to get that run back after making the 2 errors. 26 pitch on a 26 home run on a 1-0 pitch for Nolan. That'll help relieve a little bit of the sting. Just watch. I like watching this on the Subaru Supermo, how it all comes together on a swing. The head goes down, the weight transfer coming through, and then the high finish on the swing.
Cargo ripped the single his first time up, and he takes a fastball up high, ball 1.
It's worth another look and sound coming off the bat. And Andrew Jones took 2 steps and said, "Why am I running? It's hot out here."
And that's high and tight, 2-0. And that misses, 3-0. Cargo during BP, it was a joke. He hit the batter's eye. He hit the scoreboard where you see his face just a moment ago. He bounced a couple onto the off of Utah Street against the warehouse out there. Swings 2-1. That was a strike, so it's 2-2. Let me correct the count. And they're one of the cool things, and we talked about this last time we were here, they have plaques, and regardless of whether a visitor hit it or obviously an Oriole, if any ball bounces on Utah Street, Charlie Blackmon has a plaque out there.
Yes, he does. That game back in 2014.
Cargo goes down, 1 out, and that'll bring up Story. Time now for the Mako big hit. What a series against the Atlanta Braves for Trevor Story. Every time we looked up, he was running around the bases. And the home runs he hit were just monstrous. And today, if you missed it, named the National League Player of the Week for the 2nd time this year. Was the Rookie of the Month in April in the National League. There's a strike.
For the week, 7 ball games, 6 home runs, 12 RBIs. Of slugging. Look at that slugging percentage. His OPS is 1.876. I mean, there's some just ridiculous numbers for Trevor. He should have been the Player of the Week. And if he didn't vote for him, something was wrong.
A lot of homework has to be done for both managers and coaching staffs when you're playing an interleague game. You're playing teams you're not familiar with. You don't see them. You don't even see them once a year. You don't see them in spring training in the case of Baltimore and Colorado. Buck Showalter was talking about that earlier today, but he had high praise for that lineup of the Rockies, understandably so. 1 and 2. He said, I'm looking forward to seeing guys like Arenado, guys like Story, guys you've seen highlights of but don't see up close.
And that's what's fun about interleague play. Seeing some of these guys. I mean, Mark Trumbo we've seen before. We know he's got power, but Adam Jones in center field. I was looking forward to seeing him play.
Yeah, I mean, Adam's been around a long time, and we all know how terrific a player he is, but you don't get to see him.
And being 2 time zones away, I mean, you don't see some of their games because our games are going on, or you might see it just briefly as it starts and we're getting ready to do our thing back in Denver. It's just, it's really nice with interleague now, playing these different divisions.
3 and 2 on Story in front of David Dahl. 1-1 ball game. We're in the fourth. First of three here. 3 night games. Rockies and Orioles. And his strikeouts have come up in the zone typically. That one was up and perhaps out of the zone. Back-to-back strikeouts, 4 for Gallardo. And here comes David Dahl for the second time. He struck out on 3 pitches in his first big league at bat.
Now, after this game's an hour old, you've had an at bat, you've had a play out in the field. Now the game starts to, I don't want to say slow down, but your nerves are more under control. You're back to playing baseball.
That misses ball 1. Which always helps in at bat. Starting 1-0 as opposed to 0-1, especially when the mice are working your stomach over. 2-0. David Dahl began his brief AAA career hitting in his first 13 games. 484 in 16 games altogether with 5 home runs. Scored 17, drove in 16. And this is fouled off. 2-1. It's not like he had to go through the clubhouse and introduce himself. A lot of guys came over when he arrived. Guys were, for the most part, already out on the field getting ready for batting practice. But you know, David Dahl was in spring training with the Rockies, with the big league club through a good portion of it. That's a strike. 2-2.
Real close. I think John gave the veteran Gallardo the benefit of the doubt on the Subaru strike zone. He thought it was up and away. Not according to Mr. Hirschbeck.
Curveball's outside. 3-2.
Really no pattern there on the Subaru strike zone, because the one was a cut fastball inside, then the last 2 or 3 have been away.
And getting guys to chase up. And that's what he does there to strike out Dahl. He strikes out the side, but first Nolan hit a home run to left center to tie it up. So Arenado's 26th makes it a 1-1 game as we go to the bottom of the fourth. From Camden Yards, Couple blocks from the Inner Harbor here in Baltimore. Rockies won and the Orioles won. Matt Wieters will lead things off against De La Rosa, who needs a quick inning. He throws that curveball, I think, for the first time tonight. He's done a first pitch and he misses up high. Wieters, with the bases loaded and 2 outs, hit a roller to Mark Reynolds to end the threat in the first inning. De La Rosa has that pitch fouled off. We were talking about the 2 guys going at one another tonight, Gallardo and De La Rosa, 2 of the 5 winningest pitchers who hail from Mexico. Number 1 is Fernando Valenzuela. We'll show you the list next. And another cutter inside. Here is our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms. So Fernando won 173 games. He's number 1. Esteban Loaiza won 126. Gallardo, Ishmael Valdez, the former Dodger and Marlin, and then De La Rosa, his next victory will be number 100. And how about this, in a Rockies uniform, De La Rosa is way above 500. 84 and 59 with the Rockies. That's a good curveball and it's fouled off.
He's first in starts.
He's first in starts. He's first in strikeouts. He has the highest win percentage of any Rocky. And we're going to show you another graphic in a moment that really, I think, gives, well, there it is right there, gives you an idea how strong he has been. And there's a strikeout. Think about that. The Rockies in his starts are 113.85, a winning percentage of .571. Nobody's throwing the ball at you, Jorge. The ball was coming at him. When anyone else starts, the Rockies are 528 and 668, a .441 winning percentage. And in the last few years, the Rockies have been well below 500, yet De La Rosa keeps winning. I think he's one of the most underappreciated starting pitchers in the National League. What he's done pitching half his games at Coors Field has really been unbelievable.
Well, and he's second in innings pitched in franchise history. Only Aaron Cook has more innings pitched than Jorge. I mean, the win percentage. Ubaldo, had a couple good years. Ubaldo's here with the Orioles. He's on paternity list or on leave right now, so he won't pitch in this series. But he's been relegated to the bullpen here. Pedro Estacio is with the Rockies right now, and kind of a special assistant. He'll come at various places, but he's here in Baltimore with us.
I just thought Pedro Estacio may be the toughest starting pitcher the Rockies have ever had. Here's the 0-2. There's the splitter in the dirt on Hardy. 3 strikeouts for De La Rosa. I know this much. The Rockies really like the group they have now and the group coming. Starting pitching for the Rockies in that Atlanta series, a 1.82 ERA.
We gave up 5 earned runs in 24 2/3 innings in that series.
And if Baltimore, other than Chris Tillman, who's 14-2, Kevin Gausman pitched a good ball game, the former Grandview star, recently. But if they have an Achilles heel, people talk about their starting pitching. Their bullpen's been lights out. But they've pitched well. They've won 4 straight ball games. And their starters have a 1.04 ERA during this little winning streak for Baltimore.
Well, they had only given up 3 earned runs in 26 innings.
But overall this year, their starting pitchers an ERA of 4.91, which is 24th best in baseball. Their bullpen, however, is 4th best in baseball, an ERA of 3.08. 3-2 on Hardy. Hardy, a number of years with the Milwaukee Brewers. Career high in home runs, 30. His first year with Baltimore in 2011. And this is popped up. Nolan will have a play. 2 outs.
We just talked about the Cubs and the trade they made for Chapman. You can get your tickets now to see the Rockies take on the Chicago Cubs at Coors Field August 19th through the 21st. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in lower downtown.
You know, the guys they gave up, just to tell you a little bit more about the Chapman deal, they gave up Gleyber Torres, and that's the kid you mentioned is probably going to be potentially the shortstop of the future for the Yankees. Good prospect, not somebody you go, man, this is a lights out guy. This is, you know, a can't miss guy. He brings 3 tools. He's a solid defensive guy. He has ability to drive the ball a little bit. He runs very well. Yankees in need of a shortstop. Billy McKinney was a top 100 prospect. He's a left fielder entering the spring, but he's tailed off this year, hitting .250 in Double-A. Doesn't really have another position. They don't think he's going to hit for a ton of power. He may project more as a 4th outfielder. Rashad Crawford, who was originally a 12th round pick, he's hitting in the mid .250s in high A right now. The reason the Yankees asked for him is he can really run. He could potentially be a 30+ stolen base guy.
Well, and the other guy, Warren, was Adam Warren was with the Yankees, and they flip-flop when they went and traded Sterling Castro last year.
Yeah, they get him back.
So they get him back.
2-1. So, you know, again, the system, we always discuss, it's so important to have a deep system. Paramount for the Rockies, because they're not going to go in, no free agent pitcher unless, you know, they're on the 18th fairway is going to typically sign with the Rockies. You have to develop within, but you also want to have great depth so you can make a move here and there. The Cubs were able to do that without parting with Kyle Schwarber. That's who everybody asked for.
Right.
He's hurt this year, not going to play this year, but everybody wanted him. You have this elite club, and now you get one of the dominant closers in recent memory.
Well, and for a franchise organization, the Cubs, it was, you know, looking at this might be the year for us, so we got to do whatever we can. Be careful, boys.
There's that 1-2-3 inning that De La Rosa was looking for as Reimold hits a fly ball to Blackmon. We're at 1-1 as we go to the 5th. Dugout. David Dahl wearing it for the first time in his big league career, and Ellis Burks wore that uniform, wore it proudly for a number of years. Tremendous career for Burks.
And I'm sure Ellis is just trying to lighten the mood.
Yep, trying to make the kid feel at ease. Mark Reynolds will be first up against Yovani Gallardo. Gallardo pitched 7 innings against the Yankees, allowed 4 runs in his last outing. He's allowed 1 run, a home run in the 4th inning to Nolan Arenado so far. Rockies 2 hits, just 3 hits for Baltimore. 2 teams riding 4-game winning streaks. Reynolds was hit by a pitch his first time up, 0 for 6 lifetime against Gallardo.
Orioles coming off a sweep at Cleveland. And Buck Showalter was talking about Cleveland and said, you know, I know we've seen all the teams. We played Boston. We played Toronto. He goes, I'm telling you what, Cleveland's as good as those guys. I mean, he had high praise for the Indians.
Two and one. I think the strategy you'd think going forward, and I guarantee was talked about before the game, but now in game, talking about making in-game adjustments. Blake Doyle talking to his guys about stay off the high fastball.
Sometimes that's easier said than done, especially when somebody that's throwing 88, 90 miles an hour. You think, oh, I can jump on that. I can get it. I can reach it. And then you end up swinging through it and mumbling to yourself as you're walking back to the dugout. I know it's easy to say, oh, just lay off it. I wish it was that easy. But when you have that guy that's doing that, you have to set your sights lower. It's like we talk about pitchers looking lower down into the strike zone at the knees and below. Well, the hitter's the same thing. I've got to look at the ball coming out of that window in a smaller, in a more downward angle and keeping it down.
Ball 4, good at bat for Reynolds. So the former Oriole, a leadoff base runner here in the 5th, and that'll bring up Descalso. Daniel hit a ground ball to first to end the 2nd inning. First walk allowed by Gallardo. 0-5, a 6.08 career ERA against the Rockies.
.317 batting average against in those 10 games.
Descalso 6 for 12 against Oriole pitching in his career, and this is going to make it 6 for 13. Reibold in left waiting. He's got it. 1 out. Nick Hundley coming up. Well, Brandon Barnes was designated for assignment to make room on the 40-man roster for David Dahl, and the Barnyard, who's as classy a young man as we've ever dealt with in baseball. Just love that kid. And he wrote, thanks to everyone who has sent me messages. I first want to thank the Rockies for the past 3 years, management, staff, front office. Crazy act. Keep grinding and having fun. Can't forget my team from Root Sports in the booth. Thank you and much love. Peace. He's just a great kid, and yeah. Listen, he's still a heck of a player. He's a big league player. He's a guy that will find a home, and it's not necessarily done in Colorado. We'll see how it all plays out.
Just to be able to, I mean, Brandon was one of those guys you just like talking to. He loved talking baseball. I mean, he talked baseball all the time.
Well, it's always tough, and Walt, who is a very compassionate man, always finds it difficult when he has to have those conversations, whether it's during spring training to send a guy out, or at the end of spring training when you have to tell somebody you didn't make the 25-man roster, or like last night as Nick takes a strike and you have to tell a guy that you're being designated for assignment. Last night was particularly difficult because, you know, Walt will say this, you know, it's only human. You're going to have some guys that are you love all your players, but to certain guys have become favorites, and he adored, for good reason, Brandon Barnes.
The energy with which he played the game, the way he respected the game.
That's called strike also. 2-2 on Hundley.
How he always put the team in front of himself. Like, that's the selfless act that you talk about in a clubhouse, because you knew for Brandon it was about the we, not the I.
Brandon will land on his feet. Inside 3-2. Brandon Barnes was a high character guy. Stinks to see him go from that side, but Dahl kicked the door down, and that's what happens. Right. And I think everybody, Hugh, you played a long time, man, 10+ years in the big leagues, and you know that's part of the business. It's easier said, though, than when it comes to the reality of it. It's tough.
I've been on both sides, obviously. I was that young player that came up, and, you know, somebody was moved out of the way, but I also, on the backside of my career, was the guy that was let go or designated for assignment because this rookie's coming up and they need to find a place for him to play. I mean, it's just the cycle of sports. And as you said, David kicked down the door. He made his presence known in something. He said, "Hey, we gotta see what this guy has. We know what he has, but we want to see it now at the big league level."
3-2, runner going again, swung on a miss. Wieters' throw bounces, but it's on the bag, and they get Mark Reynolds. So a strike him out, throw him out, ends the 5th inning. Middle of 5, 1-1. Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Utah Street. She's out. Stream right field. All the way, runs all the way to center field. Always a busy place. Good places to eat. We're in Baltimore, Maryland. Jeff, a lot of fond memories for you, I'm sure, of playing here.
Well, I mean, the obvious one was the 21-31 game when Cal broke Lou Gehrig's record. That was the pinnacle of playing here.
Yeah, this place was a madhouse during that period of time, I imagine, as well.
Well, because it's unlike a no-hitter. I mean, we knew from spring training on what was going to happen, and hopefully the date, or at least a few days around the date that it was going to happen.
There's Dario Alvarez, first start of the year for the native of Cuba. And he pops this one up in the middle of the infield. I love what starting pitchers do at the big league level. It doesn't happen typically at the amateur level. But as soon as the ball's popped up, the starting pitcher points up in the air. Yep, it's up in the air, guys, and one of you has to catch it because I'm not allowed to.
You say that all the time. It makes me laugh.
Yeah, not allowed to. Somebody else come get it.
Yeah,
could land on my head, and I'm not allowed to catch it.
That's right. Point to it.
There
Somebody's
it is.
got it.
Yeah, see, boys, it's up in the air. It's a white thing.
DJ's got it. That's all right. Let the sure-handed guy get it.
Adam Jones at the plate. Hit a seeing eye ground ball through the right side. Behind in the count in the second inning, driving the only run for Baltimore. There's Petey, Pedro Estacio. Did Ellis make an error in the dugout? Good fastball.
There's some laughing about it.
There's our man Joe running camera 5. Joe's made so many plays in his career. He'll help you out, Ellis.
Yeah. Talk about leaving it to the sure-handed guy.
2 strikes on Adam Jones. It's originally a Mariner. Who remembers that?
I don't.
Well, he was traded to Baltimore with Chris Tillman, who will go tomorrow. Tillman's 14-2 right now. And 3 others from the Mariners for Eric Bedard.
A left-handed pitcher.
Who went 15-14 in 46 starts with the Mariners. And Jones has hit 210 home runs, driven in over 700 with Baltimore. Chris Tillman with those 14 wins, tied for the big league lead. Good location, but Jones did not bite. 2-2. It's Tillman. Did you live in the area when you were playing here?
Yeah, not on the outskirts.
Center field. Charlie going back, has plenty of room.
Yeah, out in Owings Mills, where the Ravens have their complex, out in that area. The individual game day suites and party facilities are still available. There's something for everyone and every budget.
7 in a row retired now by De La Rosa. Jonathan Scope doubled in the first and then hit into a 6-4-3 double play. I've not been to Curacao, but I'm assuming like every other house in Curacao has a future big leaguer.
Or I thought you were going to say they speak 4 or 5 languages.
That's part of the deal also. You know, Bam Bam, Hensley Mullins, the longtime hitting coach for the Giants, he goes back home to Curacao in the offseason. A lot of big leaguers have come out of that small island. Part of the Netherlands. Yeah, keep the babies cool.
Baltimore, it's a 1-1 game between the Rockies and the Orioles. Talking about Huey and playing with the Baltimore Orioles, I want to show you a little bit more about Jeff's career, because he came here in 1995, also played in 96, got in 83 games. We talk about him playing next to Cal Ripken Jr. when he set the record-breaking Lou Gehrig's all-time games mark. Also played against with a couple other Hall of Famers in Eddie Murray and Roberto Alomar. Jeff, how did you become a Oriole? Because when I looked, you were released by the Rangers, I think like around Thanksgiving in 1994, and then New Year's Eve was when you signed with Baltimore. How did that go down?
Well, it was a case where I got released right around the Thanksgiving time. Not much of a thanks that the Texas Rangers gave me for a meal, but then I ended up signing here with Baltimore, and it worked out well for me. It allowed me to extend my career and come to a place that I enjoyed playing. And I go back to that game with Cal, and I just remember the emotion of that game was after the strike and the lockout and all that going on, that the way he kind of helped bring some baseball normalcy back.
Yeah, I'm back here by the warehouse too. I remember how they unveiled the games.
The numbers out on the warehouse out there, the 21-31. They would each night they would unfurl the last numbers, and then finally, after it became an official game that night, we were playing the California Angels, and they dropped that 21-31 game. Paused for about 30 or 40 minutes, and Cal made the trip around the stands.
This is looped to center field, a base hit for Blackmon. So the Rockies, for the third straight inning, have the leadoff man on. 2 innings ago, it was a home run from Nolan Arenado to tie up the game. Blackmon's now hitting 28 of his last 31 ball games. So speed aboard, and DJ LeMahieu coming up in a 1-1 ball game. You know, there are times where you don't realize the enormity of what you're witnessing, or in your case, what you were a part of tangentially. But with that, because I, like everybody else, watched from afar, and I realized, man, this is unbelievable. We'll never see this again.
No, not at all. And the way, and the person that did it, and Cal, the type of player he was. You know, I just remember I caught the third out of that first inning, and I remember as the ball's up in the air and I'm waiting for it to come down.
Did the pitcher point, by the way?
Yeah, he did. He said, "You've got it." All I could remember was, oh my goodness, there's 40 million people, or however many, as this ball's coming to me, and I'm trying to make the catch. Just don't drop it. I was like, I don't want that. No, that's not going to happen.
Thoughts you're not supposed to have.
Exactly. Exactly. The thoughts that you say you'd never have as a ball player, I had every single one of them going through my brain.
Unfortunately, you didn't drop it. Or any other.
No, I didn't drop it, and I immediately ran off the field, ran up to my locker, and put that baseball up in my locker and locked it up.
And still have it.
And still have it to this day. And it's signed.
Did you have to wait in line?
Pretty much. But those baseballs were special because they were orange and black stitching on the baseball with the number 8.
That's really cool. You got some neat memorabilia.
Yes, I do. Very, very blessed and fortunate to play this game for a long time.
2 strikes on LeMahieu with Blackmon at first.
Healthy lead from Charlie.
This is in the air to right, and not caught by Alvarez, who ran into the padded wall.
It wasn't caught, but it was a smart play from Charlie Blackmon. It didn't matter that he didn't catch it, but once Charlie saw this ball going foul, he went back and was tagging up, because he knows if he catches this, I can advance to second base. That was dropped, but that was smart on Charlie's part.
LeMahieu's 0 for 2. Strikeout and a fly ball to right field. Orioles old school, man. They don't shift. They don't steal bases.
Buck Showalter's old school. I mean, he's been around a long time.
He's had success wherever he's been, whether it was with the Yankees, Arizona, Texas.
Well, they didn't have many winning seasons for a while until Buck came here.
Well, since 2012, no American League teams won more games. This is double play ball. For whatever reason, it's really odd, because DJ's the 3rd leading hitter in the National League, yet he's grounded into more double plays than any other player in the National League.
It's one of those things that you really can't explain. He hits the ball hard, makes a lot of contact, doesn't swing and miss. He hits the ball on the ground, but another double play for DJ.
So now there's 2 outs, nobody on, and Nolan's at the plate. Arenado, his 26th home run, his last time up.
Well, he didn't miss that pitch from Gallardo. It's the second home run Gallardo's giving up to a right-handed batter this year. He's given up 6 to lefties.
Here's the 1-0. Changeups in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rockies coming off a 5-2 homestand. Moved over 500 at home, 25-24. Out on the road, they're 22-27. Baltimore leading the American League East at 57-40. Game and a half up on the Red Sox.
In large part to what they've done at home. I mean, that is the key for Baltimore. They're 36-14 here at Camden Yards.
It's the best record at home in baseball.
Well, they're 5 games under 500 out on the road, 21-26. You know, we talk about Coors Field and how you need to play better, you know, at home and have that dominating performance. And for Baltimore, that's what they've accomplished here. A .720 winning percentage.
It's really odd to think that they're 5 south of 500 out on the road. And that, as you said, that's the blueprint.
The Rockies are
for the
5
Rockies.
games under. They're 22-27 out on the road.
That's a strike. 3-2 on Nolan. You got to give Gallardo credit. He has really shaved the edges of the plate, and he's been effective up in the zone with 2 strikes tonight.
The one mistake he made was to Nolan, and he made him pay.
And if you're wondering what kind of relationship Nolan has with Manny Machado, I asked him before the ball game, and when they're in the same place, you know, he's gotten along great with him, has conversations. He doesn't know him that well. Again, they haven't had the opportunity to overlap
and
a ton.
And as you said, Baltimore trains in Florida, Rockies in Arizona. That makes a big difference.
He loves watching him play, and I guarantee you Manny Machado loves to watch Nolan Arenado and highlights, etc.
I was talking to a few of the coaches for the Orioles today, Bobby Dickerson in particular, who's the third base coach for Baltimore, and he was talking about Manny and Nolan being able to watch these guys up close and personal. Now he was looking forward to it.
Jam shot to center, and Jones makes the catch. The Rockies end up going in order despite the base hit by Blackmon. It's 1-1, middle of 6. Machado will lead it off. the Inner Harbor taking on the Baltimore Orioles, and this place is always hopping, particularly this time of year. In this Domino Sugars plant in the background. There weren't a ton of people out today. Huey made mention of that because the heat index hit a high of 111 today.
So why were you running when I saw you earlier today?
Because I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Manny Machado takes inside, ball one. Did you need a reminder of that?
Well, no, but I just saw you sweating profusely as you ran by me.
Saw Tommy Runnels after that in the outside the weight room, and he said the same thing to me. I'm gonna have to shorten up that run a little bit.
DR was smart. He didn't go out for that run. He said, nope.
He's older than me. He's got wisdom. Here's the 2-0 on Machado, who rips it to third, and Nolan will get behind this throw. One out. That'll bring up Mark Trumbo.
He made sure he set his feet, made the strong throw over. But it happens. We saw it the other day. Brandon Crawford with the Giants made 3 errors in a game. I mean,
and he's as good as it gets at short.
Exactly. It happens. It's just so rare when you see it, you know, from Nolan.
Well, the guy's almost perfect, so you expect perfection, right?
You do.
Just reminded us he's human, I guess.
Yeah, it's not a video game.
Trumbo 0 for 1 and a walk. Quietly, Jorge's done his thing, right?
I was just going to say that because you keep coming after his last start. We gave up the 11 hits. Tonight he's given up 3 hits, 7 ground ball outs, 6 flyouts, 3 strikeouts, 14 for 21 first pitch strikes. I mean, you name it for Jorge.
Great curveball, best of the night there. And the other thing is the pitch count is low.
Right. You think about the traffic that he had to deal with in the first and second inning. But since then, he gave up the base hit to lead off the third. They got a double play. 4th was clean, 5th was clean, and here to start the 6th. First out.
On the outside corner. And it's 1 and 2 on Trumbo. .281 average, 30 home runs for Mark Trumbo, most in the big leagues.
He's really kept the Orioles off balance. We've seen the split finger. What's really worked for him tonight, though, is that cut fastball.
Oh, he froze him with a fastball. That wasn't a cutter. That was a straight 4-seam. He doesn't throw as hard as he used to, and that surprised Trumbo. I think he was going through all the other things he was going to see, right?
He's saying, hey, well, he's the slider, or excuse me, cut fastball, split finger, but he locks him on the Subaru Supermower with the 4-seam fastball.
There's a Rockies fan cheering.
Stand up and cheer.
2 outs. That'll bring up Chris Davis. Strikeout and grounded into a 6-3 double play. Curveball's low.
But the curveball was something I talked about in this very first inning of this game, that was hoping to see more of those tonight because he has a good one.
And Davis steps out. Rockies have the shift on for Davis. Did not go. Rockies' upcoming home schedule is brought to you by Remax. Well, the Rockies will come back and they'll have an off day next Monday. They'll begin a series with the Dodgers midweek, and then the Marlins will be in town. Prado and Giancarlo Stanton and that gang, they're having a very good year. And then it's the Texas two-step with the Rangers. 3-0.
Texas, their lead has dwindled in the American League West, just 2.5 games.
Houston's on their footsteps or heels or whatever you say. What's that line? You know what I meant.
Yes, they're close behind them.
Thank you. 3-0 swinging in a 1-1 game, and Davis didn't come close to it. It's 3-1.
It wasn't real convicted behind that swing.
That wasn't a 3-0 swing.
That was more of a 1 strike swing. That time he went.
3-2. Vic Carapazza. De La Rosa looking for his 7th win this year. 2 outs, 3-2. That's the 3rd walk allowed by Jorge. And it'll bring up Wieters. First game back again for Wieters after dealing with a foot injury the last 6. Just hitting 186 from the right side of the plate this year. Well, it looked like it may have hit the top of the zone. It did. Well inside the Subaru strike zone, but not called a strike by John Hirschbeck, so it's 1-0. That's a pitch sometimes that umpires lose because with a right-handed hitter, he's sitting over the inside corner.
Well, the catcher has to reach for it. So it just gives the appearance that it's not a strike. This is the guy you have to be careful with, and especially 2-0.
Fouled off. Well, he's hit over 100 home runs as an Oriole backstop. There's only one Oriole catcher to have hit more home runs all time, Chris Hoiles, who hit 142 while catching for Baltimore.
Wieters is a better catcher than Chris Hoiles was.
Chris Hoiles was an offensive catcher.
He was an offensive catcher.
Wieters came up as a top prospect, and he has lived up to the billing. 4 times again an All-Star.
Out of Georgia Tech. This part of had Tommy John surgery in 2014.
De La Rosa's got to make a pitch here. It's 3-1. Davis walked with 2 outs. And he did. To Nolan. From his knees to DJ. That'll end the inning. We are through 6 innings. Nothing decided. The Rockies won. The Orioles won. For Colorado, it'll be Cargo, Story, and Dahl. Great statue of Cal Ripken outside Camden Yards. The Coors Light Cold hard facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp, Coors Light. And here's a young shortstop that has a great present and an unbelievable future. 27 home runs this year. Rockies rookie record for home runs. He's within 1 of Willeen Rosario. Major League record for rookie shortstop, 30. He's within 3 of Nomar. National League rookie record for home runs, period, regardless of position. Wally Berger, Frank Robinson. That's a possibility. And of course, the all-time rookie record for home runs, that would take some doing. 49 by Mark McGwire. Off-speed pitch. Bounces up there. Cargo's 1 for 2. A sharp single in the second. He struck out swinging in the 4th on a 3-2 pitch. Cargo, Story, Dahl in a 1-1 game. And Baltimore does shift with Cargo.
When he beat the shift last time, he would pass Scope, excuse me, in short right field.
I'm betting that before these 3 days expire, he's going to hit one, at least one, hopefully more, out of Camden Yards.
I'm not taking that because I think he will.
And again, it's a 3-0 count. Last time Cargo got in front 3-0 before Gallardo worked his way back into the count. Because of injuries, just the 12th start for Gallardo this year. And a 4-pitch walk. So that's 4 straight innings that the Rockies have had the leadoff man on. Well, they got to take advantage of it. Here comes Story, a line out and a strikeout for Trevor. Number 26 is David Dahl. 27, you know who he is. 28's pretty good too.
How about these two guys too, hitting back-to-back, roommates this winter and during the spring.
You know, they were knew each other from instructional league, etc. But they got really close in New Britain last year.
That's the time in the minor leagues when you make those lifelong friendships, not just baseball friendships. Those guys you stay in contact forever. You're riding the buses together, both trying to grind it out, make it to the big leagues. Both have immense talent. And just picked 1 year apart. Trevor 2011, David 2012.
David's got a shiny new helmet too. Six straight pitches out of the strike zone to begin the inning by Gallardo.
And for Trevor, you have to make this strike really small wherever you want it. Don't chase out of the zone. I mean, that pitch wasn't a bad pitch to swing at. A little bit away from Trevor on the Subaru strike zone, but how many balls did he hit out to center field, to right field yesterday, the day before? Kind of just pitching into his power.
2-1 on Story, hitting .433 coming in on the second half, and that's way upstairs. 3-1.
Those last 14 games for Trevor, hitting .400, 8 home runs, 18 RBIs, and a slugging percentage of 1,000.
Last week was reminiscent, really, of the first week of the season.
Yes, it was. Everything was loud off the bat.
3-1. Well, somebody made a good play.
Without a glove.
Michael Gibbons getting loose in the Baltimore pen. 3-2. High drive to left field and deep, but I think it's playable out there for Reimold. It will be. He got under it just a little bit.
Here you just don't know.
There's a look at Givens. So David Dahl coming up for the third time. 2 strikeouts so far.
This is going to be the at-bat. Calling his first major league hit. Maybe his first major league RBI, but definitely his first major league hit right now.
367 games in the minor leagues. Not a ton. 310 average, 47 home runs. A little tardy there. It's 0-1. He also stole 74 bases. He drove in over 200 in those 367 games. He has earned the right to be here. And he's going to play a lot. Walt was asked that before the game. Rockies didn't bring him up to be a 4th outfielder. He's going to play. 1-1.
His natural position is center field, but he has played left field, right? He's done it all down in the minor leagues. I mean, moving him around to make sure he has that versatility that when you brought him up, you could play him in left field.
Cargo at first, 1 out. 2-1. Saw that last tweet, and that gentleman's absolutely right. The Rockies, it's kind of reminiscent back in 05 when that class came up with Hop and Barmes, Corey, Sullivan, of course, and that became the nucleus for the 07 World Series run and the ensuing real good years. Now you got Gray, and you got Anderson, you have Fargo's in trouble. He's out. Well, the last few days, with some guys picked off.
Fargo was really guessing here because he took off before the ball's delivered, and then it's just an easy throw back over to first. Right now he's in trouble, just hoping that you miss on the swipe tag. Looking down at the field for a minute. John Hirsch back there walked almost all the way over towards the Rockies dugout. I'm not sure why, if he thought they were going to take a look at that.
2-1 on Dahl, 2 outs, nobody on. It's 3-1 on David.
I like that. He swung at the first pitch on the Subaru strike zone, up in the zone, and then laid off the last 3. Tried to chase it up higher in the zone.
Here's the 3-1. I think Dad had to take a walk a little bit, calm the nerves. Back up the middle. There's the first big league hit for David Dahl. Atta baby. That'll get authenticated.
Listen to the fans. I mean, they're clapping for him. They understand.
Good baseball town. You know that.
Yep. Very knowledgeable fans.
And now you have speed at first base. There's Reynolds, and this will get past Wieters, and Dahl will move up.
Wow, pitch. Let's go back to that first big league hit. Exciting moment for that family, the Dahl family. I said it, he was going to get a hit this time.
That little boy, of course, he's just coming back to sit down.
What?
Having to look around him. Reynolds fouls that back. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Huey, I take you back to your first big league game. Of course, David struck out his first 2 at bats. Now all of a sudden he fouled off the 3-1. It's 3-2, and that's part of what's going through your mind.
Yeah,
oh man,
so
don't let me punch out a third time
I
in a
don't
row.
want the hat trick, my first 3 at bats in the big leagues. But he didn't. He stayed confident, took it right back up the middle.
Got a called strike again, right on that outer edge. Rowdy's made a number of good pitches there. Reynolds hit by pitch and walk. 1 and 2, trying to drive in Dahl with the go-ahead run at the top of the 7th.
Nope. There's been a lot of oohs and ahs from the crowd. But for Matt Wieters, he didn't even set up on the plate. He was 6 inches off the plate when he set up, trying to see if Mark would fish for it.
That's 3 and 2. That was pitch number 105. Gotta figure this will probably be all for Gallardo. 41 times, here's Descalso, 41 times a Rocky has gotten ahead in their big league debut. Trevor Story did, we know that. Here's the 3-2. That'll get out of play. So we've dug a little bit, and we think, not 100%, we think that he's using Descalso's bat, which you picked out, Huey, and one of Mark Reynolds' gloves, his outfield glove, and Trevor Story's spikes.
Do they get a fee for that? Or is it just since he's a rookie and his bag didn't show up that they're going to give him a pass?
You're the expert on that.
I would make him at least buy dinner. But buy dinner after a couple weeks in the big leagues. Don't make it do it on the first night.
Well, during batting practice, he borrowed Alan Bossart's glove. I didn't know AB even traveled with a glove. Alan's the tremendous clubhouse manager for the Rockies. He borrowed AB's shades. AB's got a lot of those.
This next pitch will be 108, and that will tie the season high for Gallardo.
Back up the middle, base hit. Around third is Dahl. Jones up with the baseball. His throws not going to get him. Cut off. And the Rockies take a 2-1 lead. Great at bat for Mark Reynolds. The kid has his first hit, and he has his first run scored, and it is a large one.
Well, you take advantage of little things. They took advantage of the wild pitch for David to get to second base. Mark Reynolds fouling some tough pitches off. And then just like that, right back up the middle. Jones' strong arm in center field. But David Dahl, picking him up and putting him down.
And this is another great sign as Gallardo gets taken out. The Rockies are not just taking up another talented baseball player. This is a guy that makes him more athletic, man, because he brings so many tools to the park. You just saw one of them. He can really go.
And now you're up 2-1, and they have to make a pitching change. A lot of good things happening.
lead. David Dahl got his first big league hit and just scored the go-ahead run on the hit by Mark Reynolds. The day after every Rockies victory, get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. Use the promo code ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. And now it's Michael Gibbons on the hill. Daniel Descalso at the plate. Strike one from Gibbons. That was a great at bat again by Mark Reynolds. I mean, he grinded away, and for a guy that came in, you know, throughout his career as just a long ball guy, I mean, he had an approach to stay up the middle. He had an approach to not try to do too much.
Well, and he battled for 9 pitches. I mean, that's the thing. When you keep battling, you finally feel like I'm back into a good spot. Gallardo tries to paint away on him on the Subaru Supermo, and he takes it right back up the middle. I mean, these 2-out knocks, we talk about it, but they energize a dugout so much, especially when you're thinking this game is 1-1 until that base hit.
This is in a tough place in left field, and the catch was made sliding by Reimold to end the frame. Rockies take the lead in the 7th. David Dahl, a 2-out single, moved up on a wild pitch, scored on the base hit by Mark Reynolds. An inning he will never forget, nor will mom and his girlfriend and dad in attendance. Taking a 2-1 lead. Opening game of a 7-game road trip, 3 here in Baltimore and then 4 in Queens. Here's this week's CenturyLink High-Speed Challenge. Been talking about it all week. The Rockies team record for most stolen bases in a single game, 7, 10, or 12. Cast your vote at RootSports_RM. 7 and 10 seem to be the 2 most popular choices. Jorge De La Rosa's pitched a really solid game. Bottom third of the order here for the Orioles. J.J. Hardy takes a changeup for a strike. 0-1. Adam Ottavino getting ready.
Well, Jorge is at 89 pitches, 52 for strikes tonight.
Curveball, 1-1. And it started out rough for De La Rosa. There's an error on, believe it or not, Nolan Arenado. He's made 2 today. Stopped the presses. In the first inning, had to deal with the bases loaded 1-out situation. Got out of that. Next inning, there were a couple guys on. He just gave up 1 run there. Hard ground ball. DJ slides over and he makes the play. Well, those are always worrisome because they're close to the lip.
Right, and that's what you're worrying about as you're moving across as an infielder. Is it going to hit it? And sometimes you'll have to reroute halfway through, meaning that if you think it's going to hit the lip, you'll have to come get it. If not, then you're going to be okay. He was right on the edge of that lip the whole time, so he knew that he was going to get a hop before that.
One out. Here's Reimold. 0 for 2. The first pitch change up just outside. 1-0.
What a rebound performance for Jorge after that outing last time against Tampa.
Well, Steve Foster knows he's got that hit. He's saying, Reimold's saying it hit his foot. And John Hirschbeck saying that's not what I saw.
Now they're going to wait just a minute. Read Buck's lip. We're going to take a look at it.
Remember in the old days, they'd look for shoe polish.
Shoe polish on the baseball. Now they don't have to worry about that because as soon as they start to get dirty or scuffed up, guys get a new pair out of the box. This might be a better look.
This will be the angle that'll let us know. I can't tell.
Well, they're going to take a look at it. You couldn't see on the Subaru Supermo.
Buck Showalter, the 4th winningest manager active in baseball today.
They're saying it hit his right foot, his back foot.
That on, you know, it goes so fast. On that angle, it looks like it did.
It looks like it hit the top of his foot. Is there a change of direction? It's going down. Yeah, it hit his foot.
Yeah, it looks like it hit the top of the foot. So Reimold will go to first with 1 out, and that'll bring up Dariel Alvarez. Alvarez, a wild swing. It's 0-1. Rockies leading 2-1 on the Mark Reynolds base hit to drive in David Dahl in the top of the 7th.
Alvarez, who was hitting .280 with 4 home runs, 40 RBIs for Norfolk in the International League. That's her AAA affiliate.
We have 2 Alvarez's now because Pedro Alvarez
right.
never signed with Baltimore. Rosa and Nick Hundley get together after those 2 swings, and you don't need to throw the ball over the plate. No. This kid's very aggressive.
And no need to mix it up and think you're going to trick him. Throw the same pitch down in the same spot.
He took it out of the strike zone. Nolan looking for a fan who wants a baseball. There's a few.
Trying to find one in purple.
Well, found a fan, wasn't in purple. These guys are in the right spot. Right around third base. 2 great ones, Arenado and Machado. You know, for Machado, tonight's his 44th game at third base, or excuse me, 50th game at third base. He has 43 at shortstop. We were discussing that earlier when Hardy was hurt. Nolan's had only 2 ball games all year. He hasn't started. came last week. Ground ball, that's foul. Orioles have been a very productive club late in games, which is pretty typical of teams that win a lot.
They've scored 154 runs in the 7th inning or later.
They're plus 57 on their opposition in those 3 innings, period. It's #1 in baseball, excuse me, in the American League. And it's not even close. The defending world champs plus 26 late. Alvarez didn't bite there. 2-2.
It's the same pitch that he did bite on in the first 2 pitches of this at bat.
Next pitch will be number 100 for De La Rosa.
And if he doesn't hit into a double play, this might be the last guy, because then you go to Otto for Adam Jones.
Again, Jorge facing the Orioles for just the 2nd time in his career. The last time, May 29, 2007. Gave up 5 runs in 5 innings that day. The Royals had to go get Zach Greinke out of the bullpen to relieve him. And this is going to be a base hit to left. And going first to third is Reimold. And into second with a double is Alvarez. He went down and got that. 2 in scoring position with 1 out for Adam Jones. We'll see if Walt gets the big right-hander.
Sometimes you make a good pitch and the hitter hits it, because this isn't a bad pitch. Watch on the Subaru Supermo how much he had to go down and get that right off the shoe tops.
Yeah, it's not even a strike.
Yeah. And that's where they were getting him to swing over the top, and he reached out and hit it to left field down the line.
First hit this year. He hadn't been up for very long, but that'll be the end of the road for De La Rosa, who has pitched very well. Good bounce back performance. And now lead a little help from Adam Ottavino. 2-1 Rockies. Here comes Otto when we come back. Here's our Kubota pitching performance. It's not complete, obviously, but Jorge De La Rosa in 6 1/3. 4 hits, a run, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, responsible for the 2 runners on base as he gives way to Adam Ottavino. De La Rosa has put his team in position to get a road W against the top team in the American League East. Adam Ottavino will face Adam Jones. Jonathan Schoop is on deck. And now Jorge becomes a spectator. Otto, since his return's been outstanding.
6 strikeouts and 5 1/3. Starting to get a better feel for the slider. We've seen that show up more consistently each and every time out for Adam.
Adam Jones at the plate, 1 for 3. RBI base hit in the second. And that's bounced foul, 0-1. De La Rosa and Chatwood visiting Tyler yesterday, 5 shutout innings. Different kind of line. He walked 8. Today you could laugh about it. You said, hey, it was a 0.
That's right. Well, Tyler threw 97 pitches yesterday. Today, Jorge 101. It's the 3rd time this year he's thrown over 100 pitches.
Slider high, 1-1. That's how good Ottavino's been. He hasn't had that pinpoint command that we've seen in the past with plus fastball, the 2 sliders he throws, but he's still had a lot of success since his return off Tommy John. Here's the 1-1. And that's weakly hit foul on the right side. It's 1-2.
That's because of his delivery. Guys don't pick up the baseball off of Adam. So you might not have the control, but sometimes you have to guess as a hitter. Well, I'm going to swing at this one, or I'm guessing location. And even if it doesn't show up there, you're already committed towards that swing.
Now, the beauty of Adam Ottavino is that in situations like this, and this is what he's going to be hunting right now, he can miss bats.
Those are just 2 for 17 off of Otto.
And he can strike you out with a couple different pitches. On the ground is short. Rockies will concede the run. And it's 2-2.
Now that hit by pitch.
Jones has driven in both Baltimore runs tonight.
'56th RBI for Adam.
Jonathan Schoop doubled in the first, 1 for 3. Now. Rockies elected to have the infield back with 1 out.
Well, maybe they're
1-run lead.
Yeah, but maybe they're afraid if they bring the infield in too much, they bloop the ball over the infield, 2-run score.
Popped up, and this is playable. Hundley calling for it, and Nick will come and get it. That'll end the inning. But Baltimore comes up with the equalizer. We'll go to the 8th inning, tied again at 2. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. It's been a good ball game. Well pitched by Jorge De La Rosa. Well pitched by Yovani Gallardo. It's on the bullpens now. 2-2 as we go to the 8th. 9-1-2 in the Rockies lineup. Nick Hundley, who briefly was an Oriole for 50 games 2 years ago, will come up against Michael Gibbons, who got the final out of the 7th inning. Gibbons has been in this situation a lot this year. You can tell by his record. He's 7-1.
And that leads all major league relievers with the 7 wins.
High strikeout guy. League hitting just .238 against Gibbons. He's part of an outstanding bullpen. 2 of their relievers made the All-Star team. That's almost unheard of.
And the closer, Zach Britton's 32 for 32 in saves.
And Brad Brock was the other All-Star. Rockies saw him when he was in the National League. One and 2 count on Nick Hundley. High.
Good eye.
It's an odd arm angle, and they had part of the strike zone. And it's one of the, he throws hard anyhow. He's mid-90s guy, but it gets on you, doesn't it? He looks like it gets on you quick.
Straight side arm, but there's some good sling to it. Chasing the ladder on the Subaru strike zone. Hey fans, Saturday, August 6th is CSU night. Rams fans can purchase a special ticket package to receive a limited edition CSU themed Rockies hat.
Blackmon's 1 for 3. All Rams fans are proud of how, as a Cowboy, you're handling those reads. And
professional.
You're very professional. And the other day, we got a text mid-game after you read it with big thumbs up from assistant trainer Scotty Garrett of the Rockies, because he's a Ram alum.
I just want to make sure that I do what's right. Do the right thing.
That's right. It's good advice for life.
That's
do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
That's what I tell my kids.
We have the Air Force night. We have the CSU night, CU night.
UCS night the other night, right?
That's right. Wyoming nights, August 20th again. DU night. We make sure we represent all of our great schools in the state.
De La Rosa goes 6 1/3, 2 runs on 4 hits. Gallardo went 6 2/3, 2 runs on 5 hits.
I like what they did with De La Rosa too. The 2 runs, only 1 was earned. They took away that earned run that they had given him earlier in the game. Back in the second.
Yeah, I think that's the right call.
I do too. Ow.
Baltimore coming off that sweep of Cleveland. Buck Showalter had the high praise for Cleveland, but this Baltimore team so tough at home. 7 series sweeps this year for Baltimore. And the 2-2 swung on and missed by Blackmon. 2 outs in the 8th.
And you can see why this guy Gibbons has so many strikeouts. Late movement on the ball. Coming out of the hand on the Subaru Supermo. Fingers are close together. And they're just running away from the left-hander. Charlie was late on that swing.
LeMahieu tonight's 0 for 3. Strikeout, fly out, grounded into a double play. It's again interesting when you play interleague games, different philosophies. Everybody has the same reports, but they're playing DJ straight up in the infield, absolutely straight up in the outfield. And as we all know, DJ, not that he doesn't hit some balls to left, but DJ primarily hits the ball to right center field over to the right field line.
And we've seen some teams almost play 2 guys in right field out in the outfield. Look at San Diego, the way they really shift over on him.
Especially with a guy throwing this hard. 0-2, 1-2.
Just means he's got an open gap to shoot to. I think that's what you're hoping if you're DJ, because you're so used to seeing something different visually when you go to the plate. And now he's got to be thinking, wow, there's so much room out there.
Composition of the Baltimore bullpen is such that they have only one lefty, and that lefty is Zach Britton, your closer. So they don't have a matchup guy on the left side.
So that then is advantage when Cargo comes up, or David Dahl when he comes up.
But in a tie game at home, traditionally you're going to see the A guys. You're going to see your closer in the 9th. That's a fair ball. Machado will throw out DJ by a step, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Gibbons. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. The Rockies 2 and the Orioles 2. Couple errors by the Rockies, 2 runs, just 4 hits for the Baltimore Orioles. Who wants tacos? Fans follow at @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies eclipse the 7-run mark. Manny Machado, Mark Trumbo, Chris Davis, 3, 4, and 5 in the Orioles lineup.
And this is another first, too, for Adam, where he's finished an inning, had to go sit in the dugout, and then come back out and start the next inning. This is coming back off Tommy John.
Where is that pitch?
Missed? Yes, it was on the Subaru strike zone. Missed by Hirsch.
Yeah, that was missed by John Hirschbeck. That's not even close.
No.
Adam typically show a lot of emotion, but you can tell he was frustrated with that first pitch. Now it's a 2-0 count versus 1-1.
And Nick was frustrated too.
That's out of play. Big swing from Machado. That last play he made on LeMahieu, you got to see his talent. He's got great arm talent in addition to being so athletic at third base, does Machado.
Caught that right by the bag at third base and then flung it all the way across the diamond. Sidearm and on the money.
Good pitch.
Well, he was guessing slider. Throw Adam that, or excuse me, that Manny that slider.
20 home runs, 30 doubles for Manny Machado.
It's just hitting .233 against off-speed pitches. That's why you throw him the slider here. Plus, you got a devastating one. He went fastball.
Machado's hitting .337 at Camden Yards, .290 on the road. 12 of his 20 home runs have come here at Camden Yards. Not surprising. Tremendous young player. Here's the 2-2. No, Adams can step off the bat. Boone Logan is warming in the Rockies' pen. After Machado, another right-handed hitter in Trumbo, and then Chris Davis from the left side. Matt Wieters, the switch-hitting catcher, a better hitter from the left side. He got away with one, and it's popped up to Nolan. 1 out.
Comes back from a 2-0 deficit. Get a big out. Hey fans, MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is now available. You can join the millions of subscribers, watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices.
And in the other bullpen, Baltimore's bullpen, they have Zach Britton up.
They have the staggered bullpens here in Baltimore. One right behind the other.
Down right off the mask of Nick Huntley. There's Britton.
And if you pull back a little bit, you can see right above him is Boone Logan. The Rockies guys are up higher in their perch, but they've got to look over the top of the other bullpen.
A neat experience for the fans out there. Not probably, I don't know if the Rockies bullpen or any visiting bullpen would describe it as neat with the fans perched over the top of them.
Yelling at you, throwing stuff and spilling drinks on you? No.
But they can see both bullpens.
Right.
That's a strike. 0-2.
Well, it's nice for those Rockies fans there to be able to look.
Rockies will have 3, 4, and 5 in the top of the 9th of their own. Here's the cleanup man, Mark Trumbo, 0-2. Trumbo came up with the Angels in 2010. Third time he's hit more than 30 in his career. 2013. His best year, he had 34 and drove in 100 for the Angels. And was with Arizona the next couple of years. He saw him plenty those years. 0-2. And that's nowhere close.
Well, these two have a small history against each other. Adam, he's gotten the better of Trumbo. Trumbo's 0 for 4 against Adam.
Two on the ground, foul. Trumbo is a California kid. He signed out of high school. He verbaled to Southern Cal, and then he was was drafted by the Angels, not high. He's drafted in the 18th round. I think there was some question whether he was whether he was going to sign, and they offered him enough money that
Well, that was probably
Trumbo did sign.
before slot money, where they could really give him whatever they wanted.
Well, the Rockies did it famously in the 14th round with Dexter Fowler. Gave him almost $1 million. That's why Dexter had slipped. He was a first-round talent, but a lot of folks stayed away thinking they wouldn't be able to sign him. And the Rockies pulled off a coup. Dexter is probably going to go to the University of Miami. Harvard wanted him to play both.
Basketball and baseball.
Yeah. One and two on Trumbo, one out. Line shot, caught ankle high by Story, 2 gone. And now with Davis coming up, Walt will bring in Boone Logan. And Otto's a perfectionist. He did not like the pitch he gave Trumbo. Probably didn't like the pitch he gave Machado, but both resulted in outs.
The 20 pitches too for Adam. That is a new season high for him. So each step, each time he comes back out to the hill, it's another building block.
2 outs, nobody on. Boone Logan when we return. New episode of the club. We're all access in the Rockies bullpen. Jenny gets a tour from Adam Ottavino. Darren Holmes is mic'd up for a side session with John Gray. And we catch up with former Rocky Corey Dickerson, who was in town last week with Tampa. All this and the best moments from the week in a brand new episode of the club. That's tonight after the postgame show. I guess Jason Mott will be a big part of that feature. Pretty good character. Boone Logan's ready to go. Chris Davis will step in. 0 for 2 and a walk tonight.
It doesn't matter whether it's right-handed or left-hander. Neither side has had the advantage against Boone. Lefty's hitting 154. Right-handers 167.
And a first pitch strike. Davis actually is hitting higher against lefties, 238, than right-handers, 221. 0-1 and a ground ball to short. 3 on the right side. Story throws across. Boone does his job. And now we'll go to the 9th. The Rockies in a 2-2 game. We'll have Nolan Arenado, who homered in the 4th, Carlos Gonzalez, and Trevor Story. The Rockies will face Zach Britton here in the ninth. They have their 3 home run trio coming up, just like Baltimore had their trio of 3 guys who have 20+ home runs last half inning. Zach Britton an .065, a microscopic ERA, 48 strikeouts, 11 walks. He's been tremendous.
And it's going to be fastball 90% of the time at about 95 miles an hour.
But he turns it over. Do you see
Yeah.
how much movement he got away from Nolan there?
At 95. And then the slider, if he does so, will be somewhere between 82 and 86 miles an hour.
And Nolan bounces it to Machado. 1 out. So that'll bring up Cargo. Cargo tonight 1 for 2 and a walk. He has the best ERA of any relief pitcher in the American League. His teammate Brad Brock is 5th.
Cam Bedrosian, his dad was a Steve Bedrosian, longtime closer.
Former Atlanta Brave.
Right. Bedrock.
Well, with Britton on the hill, the Orioles did not shift for Cargo. They were earlier with Gallardo. Oh, 2.
It had movement like a slider up in the Rockies bullpen. Jason Mott and Carlos Estevez. Depending on what happens this inning.
1 and 2. Cargo much better against lefties this year than last year. But not this time. 2 outs.
On the next Fan Friday is August 5th, and the first 10,000 fans will receive a Fan Friday Rockies baseball cap courtesy of KOA News Radio. Go ahead and cap it off today, Trevor, after being named National League Player of the Week. Start this new week off with a home run. Why not?
One and 0 on Story. Line out, strike out, and he just missed hitting 1 out in the 7th inning. A high fly ball to the edge of the track in left.
Really turns that thing over.
And Britton has a 1-2-3 ninth inning. So we'll go to the bottom of the 9th in Baltimore. The Rockies 2 and the Orioles 2. weekend over the next couple of days, and they're engaged in a great one with the Orioles. It's 2-2 going to the bottom of the 9th inning. And they'll try to push it to extra innings with Jason Mott, who's been up and down. And Mott will face Matt Wieters, J.J. Hardy, and last night's hero for Baltimore, Nolan Reimold.
Jason had a rough series against Atlanta. 2/3 of an inning, plus a couple batters faced in another ball game. Gave up 4 earned runs. A few days off, Saturday and Sunday.
So here we go with Matt Wieters being from the left side. First 3 at bats came from the right side against the lefty De La Rosa. 0 for 3, couple groundouts and a strikeout. And the first pitch is in the air to left. Easy play for Dahl. It's the first put out of his career. He had one play earlier, very first inning. Fielded a ball off the wall and almost threw Jonathan Scope out, stretching it for a double. To show off that arm.
Live look at that arm. Not only the strength, but the accuracy.
J.J. Hardy 0 for 2 and a walk. Chaz Roe, the former Rocky. Heard that name in a while. Chaz is up in Baltimore's bullpen. I always say this, Huey. I don't know if you felt this way as a player. When you're on the road and you can get it to extra innings,
yes,
you always feel like maybe the advantage swings back in your direction, even though you don't have last at bat.
No, but you have your closer.
But exactly, you still have your closer, and they typically have burned theirs.
Right, and they've gone through some of their better guys in their bullpen, and then they start to flip the card over once that happens and go back and work their way from the bottom. And so, yeah, if you can keep it here, go to extra innings, you still have your closer ready to go, and all you're looking for is that 1 out.
Story on the move, throws out Hardy, 2 outs.
Not 1 out, 1 run.
And now the crowd's going to react here when Nelson Reimold, yeah, he's here saying back to back. Nelson Reimold comes up. Last night, 2 outs as a pinch hitter in the 9th in a 3-3 game. He had a walk-off 2-run home run. Wouldn't you know it? He's up with 2 outs in a 2-2 game tonight in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rockies do not want to see back-to-back from Reimold. Good slider for a strike.
He wouldn't have had that chance yesterday, except for there was a strikeout, then a wild pitch allowing Pedro Alvarez to reach, and as the throw was going down to first base, it hit him in the helmet. So that's how they extended that inning.
And that slices the outside corner. John Hirschbeck, and he's a good umpire, he's had a strange zone tonight. I'm happy that he's called both of those pitches strikes. You can see the reaction of Reimold, but there's been some pitches in the zone clearly not called strikes, and those may have been outside. Pedro Alvarez is swinging a bat, not because he's mad at Buck Showalter, he's just
probably
maybe for Dario Alvarez, who's right now in the on-deck circle. 0-2.
The old theory is if I'm going to get beat, I'm going to get beat away. Make him try to take me the opposite way, and that's what Jason is doing.
Come in with the fastball, and they get a pop-up. Mark Reynolds going to have a play, perhaps. Yes, made the catch, and that will send this game to extra innings. Good frame from Jason Mott. He gets Wieters, Hardy, and Reibold. We'll go to the 10th, 2-2. Jack Link's beef jerky all season long. Jack Link's, feed your wild side. Well, the Rockies haven't played many extra inning games. They're going to play one tonight. We go to the 10th inning, 2-2. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Mark Stout. And for the Rockies, the kid David Dahl is going to lead it off, and Chaz Rowe has the baseball for the Baltimore Orioles. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. David Dahl in his third major league at bat on a 3-2 pitch from Giovanni Gallardo. He drove one back up the middle, and a few moments later, after a wild pitch, he would score what was at the time the go-ahead run. He made it 2-1 on a base hit by Mark Reynolds. That's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Got that hit out of the way, and now David Dahl will face Rowe here in the 10th. Just the third extra inning game for the Rockies this year. They're 0-2. And a slider below the knees, evidently, and it's 1-0. Baltimore has played 5 extra inning games. Tonight, number 6. They are 3-2. And this is going to stay fair. That'll bring up Reynolds. Reynolds 1 for 1. The RBI single in the 7th. The walk and a hit by pitch. Chaz Rowe this year.
Came up on June 30th. Made his debut for the season on July 1st. Been pitching down in Norfolk for the Tides. For a long time, the Tides used to be the Mets AAA and Baltimore. Baltimore forever was in Rochester.
Well, Tidewater was the AAA affiliate of the Mets forever.
Number 54, Carlos Estevez. George Lyles.
Rockies have Jordan Lyles and Carlos Estevez up. Lyles, if the Rockies don't score. Chaz Rowe never got to the big leagues in a Rockies uniform. In 2013, he made 21 appearances with Arizona, was with the Yankees briefly in 2014. Last year, he made 36 appearances with Baltimore. One and two.
That was a slider, and Chaz Rowe. Sliders 82 to 84, fastball sitting around 92.
A lot of movement on that pitch, but he missed with it.
It's in the same location that Mark took a couple balls, took him for that, and then took a strike to Gallardo back up the middle for that first RBI.
Sliders playable in the air on the right side, and the catch is made by Trumbo, 2 outs. The Rockies do not have a base runner since a single by Reynolds that gave them the brief lead in the 7th inning. They have not reached against that terrific Baltimore bullpen. Now with 2 outs, it's Descalso. Chaz Rowe, the first-round pick in 2005, a supplemental first-round pick of the Rockies. He's drafted number 32 in the first round. He's the grandson of Bill Mazeroski. How about that?
Nice lineage there with the Mazeroski. We were talking about Yastrzemski the other day. Mazeroski tonight.
That's a rocket. Did that catch any Rowe?
I don't think so. He tried to put his glove behind his back to make the catch. Right back up the box. Nope, got out of the way. That would have been something if he just stuck his glove behind his back and made the catch.
About once a year we see one of those kind of plays, right?
Yeah, where the guys just throw it up there, see what happens.
So here's Hundley. Wouldn't this be a fitting storyline? Beat the team you played with a couple years ago. Takes a breaking ball for a strike.
For the Rockies, Chaz Rowe was a starter, 126 games. He was 42 and 38 down in the minor leagues.
Two strikes on Hundley, couple strikeouts and a flare to shortstop. 10th inning, tied at 2. De La Rosa pitched very well for the Rockies tonight, as did Giovanni Gallardo for Baltimore. And this goes past Wieters, and now Descalso is in scoring position. Second time we've seen a wild pitch tonight that has benefited the Rockies. The Rockies took advantage of it on the base hit by Mark Reynolds in the 7th. See if they can take advantage here in the 10th.
And both of them with 2 outs. An overamped slider from Chaz Rowe. I mean, this almost didn't make the other batter's boxes that slides on by. Let's take a look at the arms now. I mean, it doesn't matter. Base hit, you're going to try to score. Reimold left, average. Andrew Jones, or Adam Jones, excuse me. Strong arm in center field, average accuracy, and then Alvarez just a tick above both.
That almost went to the backstop.
Get it in play.
Two. Strike 3. Looked like it was off the plate.
We said it all night, John Hirschbeck. He's just not really sure where that zone is tonight.
No, it's been floating all evening. We go to the bottom of the 10th. Rockies 2 and the Orioles 2. We're in Baltimore, and that was quite a man. Quite a hitter. Eddie Murray, one of the great switch hitters of all time. Great Baltimore Oriole. And you're going to see a slugger coming up in Pedro Alvarez, kind of a feast or famine guy. The Rockies are going to turn it over to Jordan Lyles here in the bottom of the 10th inning. So Pedro Alvarez will pinch hit for Dario Alvarez. There is no relation. And then Adam Jones and Jonathan Schoop here in the bottom of the 10th.
Numbers much better for Jordan Lyles out of the bullpen. In 8 stints coming out of the bullpen. I want to know what the 2.57 ERA. These two have matched up before. Pedro 2 for 9 off of Jordan.
Alvarez 3 for his last 23 at the plate. Former Pittsburgh Pirate #1. And he takes inside. Alvarez kind of played himself out of the National League. He struggled at third, and then he struggled at first.
Struggled with the leather on his hand. And then sometimes he struggled throwing the ball over to first base when he was at third.
And he was a late sign this winter.
Well, it really limits your options when all you do is hit. Cuts out 15 teams.
2-0, and Lyles is now fallen behind 3-0. He didn't want to go with a 2-0 fastball, and he missed on the changeup. If he gets on, they obviously will run for him. Rockies have put the shift on.
Maybe Flaherty, their utility infielder. Flaherty or Bourbon if he gets on. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Ground ball to first. Good job coming back by Lyles. Reynolds to the bag, 1 out.
Made a quality pitch behind in the count. 3-1 got on the hands of Alvarez.
This may not be what Jordan Lyles, wants in his heart of hearts. He sees himself. He's been a starter his whole life. He sees himself as that. But for an inning, he's got a big arm, and you can see how that could play well potentially.
And he's had the opportunity to be a starter over his career. I know sometimes maybe early on he was rushed with the Houston Astros, but still has over 100 starts in the major leagues. But if you're able to come out of the bullpen and not worry about making all the, what unlucky
That's
bounce.
a bad break, because I think Nolan, we know Nolan, I think he makes that play. So Jones with a single.
I mean, it would have been a tough play for Nolan, because where he ended up diving to come up and get the speedy Jones getting down the line, but it was hit hard enough right there.
Do you know what? I'm going to recant what I said.
Yeah.
That actually was fortunate to hit the bag. That's going to be a double.
A double if it doesn't do that. And Jones has really good speed. He's not a base stealer, but that would have been a stand-up double.
Schoop at the plate, 1 for 4. Pitch with bag. Called the ball, 2-0. See, it's raining now all of a sudden in Camden Yards. Nobody's moving because they're saying, thank goodness, man, it's been so hot.
kind of spot on. They were calling for a few showers around 10 o'clock. Didn't think it'd be too heavy.
Jones draws the throw. His career high in stolen bases was 16 a few years ago. He does not run at all anymore. It was 3 out of 4 last year. 2 years ago, he stole 7.
He has 1 this year. It looked like he was leaning.
Well, I mean, you say if there's a time that he may attempt a stolen base, it's in this situation. But you got Schoop, who has 17 home runs. He's batting close to 300. You have Manny Machado on deck. Swung on and missed. It's 2-2. It's just not how Baltimore's operated.
No, that's not their MO. They're 5 guys with over 50+ RBIs. They're just kind of a station to station and take what you give them.
I think Buck Showalter, with the guys he has in the lineup, he looks at Adam Jones' ability to run a little bit and says, that's fine. He can score on a double in the gap from first base.
Right.
But I'm not going to risk having him get thrown out.
They have been caught 9 times, so their success rate's 59%.
Not good. And look at this. This is going to sneak through, and Jones is going to go first to third. And the Rockies are going to have to bring the infield in and the outfield as well.
Twice tonight, Baltimore has hit the ball to the right side. Not real hard, but just the approach. This one was Jonathan's time. Adam Jones did it in the second. Just punch the ball, throw the bat at the baseball. And Jones motoring around second. With 1 out, do you put him on?
Well, I think you got to think about it. You got Trumbo on deck. Set up a force all the way around. Rockies are going to go at him. And it's a comebacker, and Jones broke. And the throw comes out. Ball game over. The throw to Hundley after the drop for a moment by Lyles. And the throw would have had him. I don't know if it got kicked out on the tag. It doesn't matter. Baltimore wins it 3-2.
First it was dropped by Jordan Lyles, and then it was dropped by Nick Hundley. I mean, this is a comebacker. You throw home, you get him in a rundown. There's 2 outs. Instead, you mess it up, and it's a ball game. It's about as easy as it gets for Jordan. I've got it, and then he just drops it on the transfer. And then Nick, in his haste to try to make up for Jordan's bobble, he drops it. It's an error on Jordan Lyles. No RBI, but it's a game winner.
And unfortunately, that is epitomized in some ways the Rockies season. Close games, 1-run games. The Rockies have not been very good. They've not found ways to win. Unfortunately, they find a way to lose again tonight. 3-2 final in extra innings. The Rockies still without an extra inning victory this year. They're 0-3. Baltimore goes to 4-2 in extra frames. Baltimore improves to 58-40. The Rockies have dropped game 1 of this road trip. They're now 47-52. 7-13 in 1-run games this year. Let's go to our Denver studios now. Jenny Cavnar to take it away. Jenny, all yours.